asking me along tonight for, I think, what is a celebration of what Somaliland gives to the UK. And I think we should also talk about what the UK can give to Somaliland. I was very impressed, if I may say so, by Edna's speech earlier on, which was very moving and convincing. And I think you're very lucky to have a representative of that kind to speak up for you. Earlier on we heard from a Conservative politician, Gavin Williamson, and from the local Labour MP. Well, I'm a Liberal Democrat, and the reason I tell you that, which I don't always get applause when I say I'm a Liberal Democrat, thank you. The reason I tell you that is because I want to emphasise that I agree with all they said, with Gavin Williams's passion in particular, and that you've got friends, therefore, in all political parties in this country, and we all share the view that matters have to change in a beneficial way for you. And like my colleagues in other parties, I'm a great believer in the right of self-determination and the right of peoples and nations to decide their own future. Consistent, of course, with the UN Charter. And it may be inconvenient for some countries, it may be inconvenient for the African Union. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the right of individuals and individual countries to decide their own way forward, and that should be respected by other nations, no matter how inconvenient it may be for them. And I particularly want to say I admire the commitment that you've made to democracy, to justice, and to building from what clearly was a very, very difficult base, as we heard earlier on from contributions. I've also done work with other countries, perhaps in similar situations, including Tibet. And I admire the diaspora that Tibet and Somaliland and other countries of that nature produce, because you keep the flame alive. Yeah, I think you should give yourself a round of applause for that. Keep the flame alive. Now, we've got links here, of course, in this country, which I value very much. I think that what you give to the UK adds to our vitality, adds to our diversity, and that makes Britain a richer and more interesting country as a consequence. But the links should not simply be here in the UK. The links should also be across the world to Somaliland from the UK. We have, of course, got a very strong historical connection with your land, and for all sorts of reasons in the past. But that gives us both an opportunity, a better understanding, but also, I think, a responsibility to try to help matters move forward in the way that you want to see them move forward towards prosperity, peace, and understanding across the world. Now, in terms of those links, one of the things we can offer, of course, I think, is our support for a fairer world. I don't say that glibly, but I'm conscious, for example, having just had the figure reminded me tonight, that only 4% of Africans have been vaccinated. I'm also very, compared to a huge, much larger percentage in the Western world, of course, I'm also conscious that with climate change is one of the big issues facing us, that we've got a situation where African countries in particular are potentially very vulnerable to climate change. And we had COP26 in Glasgow. I can't say that I was entirely convinced that the outcome was very, very beneficial for those countries which are most exposed. And of course, it's the Western countries that have caused climate change to be the issue for us all. So in terms of investment, I think my colleagues and I say my colleagues, my Bangladeshi colleagues as a matter of fact, and I feel we can help you with business links, with links with educational institutions, with health institutions, and I would like to see what we could do, frankly, for renewable energy. I heard a contribution earlier on about your natural resources, which is very interesting. But it's also the case that with climate change, then every country is going to have to start developing renewable energy, so it's particularly keen to hear about what you're doing to develop wind energy. Ultimately, if you can have wind energy and solar energy, then you can be not only helping the planet, but you can be free from dependence on other countries and the imports they have to bring. So I don't want to take up too much time, and you'll forgive me if I don't stay very much longer because I have to get back to Brighton, which is quite a long way away. But I'm very glad to have been here tonight. Thank you for asking me, and all the best for the future.